I will call this meeting of the Public Safety Commission to order. It is Monday, November 3rd, 2025, 7 o'clock. Establish a quorum of the commission. We have four commissioners here, Commissioner Ted Hayes, Commissioner Lynn Glenn, Chair Adeline Jones, and Commissioner Alex Ricca. Donald Shang is not here. Okay, we need a motion to approve the agenda. Is there anyone who wants to change anything around? First from commission, and then we'll go to public to see. Anything you want to move? It's a full agenda, so. Yeah, howdy.
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the public that would like to change anything around the agenda? Okay, so we have a motion by Lynn Glenn, seconded by Alex Ricca. And any opposed? All those in favor say aye. Aye. No oppositions. That was an aye from you as well, Ted?
Yeah, aye.
All right. We're on public input. The public is invited to present petitions, make announcements, or provide other information to the commission that is relevant to the scope of authority of the City of Blue Lake and this commission, and that is not on the agenda. The commission may provide up to 15 minutes for this public input session. To assure that each individual presentation is heard, the commission may uniformly impose time limitations of 3 minutes to each individual presentation. The public will be given the opportunity to address items that are on the agenda at the time the commission takes up each specific agenda item. Is there anyone here for public comment? Okay. All right.
So
Lynn.
I have a new announcement, which is not on the agenda. So we discussed this amongst ourselves and decided that I can still be a member of the public, even though I'm a safety commissioner. But the question is, were you going to talk about in your report at least the flood fight training?
I could, or you could.
Okay, but that would probably be better for you since you have a report on the agenda and it's been the public's been noticed. But I will say one thing as a member of the public that the city I just heard about an hour ago is planning to do a sandbag training on Friday, and there's no time and place yet. But anybody who's interested, or if you know people who might be interested, that would be great to have as many people in the community as we can trained to sandbag properly.
So that will be hopefully on the website, the city website, when there's a time, or do we have a time yet?
It's gonna be in the corporation yard.
Okay.
It wasn't the corporate yard, yeah.
And do we have a time?
I'll get back to that.
Okay. Well, we'll advise people to maybe check on our website. We have some time. It's only Monday, and if this is on Friday.
The training is gonna be on Friday at 4 p.m. at the courtyard.
Okay, 4 p.m. Thank you. All right, thank you for that announcement, Lynn. And then anyone else from public? Seeing no hands, we'll move on to item 4. Approval of minutes Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025 special meeting. Now, I pulled these together from my notes, from some of notes that Alex made. So that's why they look pretty brief. But the important thing is the motions, the seconds, and the votes. So that was definitely recorded here in our minutes. Do we have?
There's a correction, item number 6.
Okay.
The representative from the sheriff's office was under sheriff Jesse Gallon, which is spelled B-R-A-U-D.
B-R-A-U-D. B-R-A-U-D. Okay, I kept trying to find what his name was. He introduced himself, and it was hard to hear even from the video. So thank you for that. Any other corrections or additions from the commission? You weren't here, yeah. All right, and anything more from public? All right, back.
Well, I would like to thank Tom Means and Tony, who certainly cleaned up my notes and did a yeoman's job in preparing these minutes. My notes were pretty scattered. So thank you, Adeline and
Well, and I don't see it on here, but we need to choose a secretary for this evening. I mean, I'm taking minutes and I can, I can do it, but it's going to be very bare bones, like what you see here, because it's hard to be chair at the same time as being minute taker.
Yeah, I'll go ahead for tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Thanks, Ted. Okay. And that's interesting because I'm taking over for you at the Mad River Grange the last two meetings. So interesting. I have the motions and seconds if you don't from the beginning. Thank you for that. So back to approval of minutes of Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. The reason it was called a special meeting is because the first was Labor Day, so we couldn't meet that night. So that's why they're calling it a special meeting that night. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes?
I so move.
And do we have a second?
If it's not a conflict of interest, I'll second it.
Yeah, I think it is okay because Lynn wasn't there. That's why she's not seconding it. So Alex, that would be great. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes of the September 2nd, 2025 meeting. Any further discussion from commission? Anyone from public? Back to commission for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And
I abstain.
you're abstaining. Okay. All right, let's move on then. Agency check-in. Do we have anyone here from the Blue Lake Fire? Do we have anyone here from Red Cross? Do we have anyone here from the Sheriff's Department? Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening.
Yes, it is.
All right, a little damp out there, but
Yeah.
Josh McCall, I'm lieutenant with the sheriff's office. I'm in charge of our patrol operations. It's been a while since I've been here. I used to have the North Area operations, which consisted of McKinleyville and Blue Lake and all that stuff, and now I have operations for the whole county. So
For the record, would you spell your last name
Yeah.
for us?
MCCALL.
MCCALL. Okay. Call. Okay. Thank you.
I don't have anything too significant. Have the stats for Blue Lake from the month of October. These typically be the same stats that are sent to the city staff monthly, but just to kind of share them for the month of October. And this is for the greater Blue Lake area. So while it obviously includes the incorporated area, it obviously expands out beyond that into some of the Glendale area and stuff like that. That's not part of the incorporated city of Blue Lake itself. But with that, calls for service in October were up slightly from September. We had 290 overall in September. It was 296 in October. With that, reports taken, we're only up a couple. We went from 18 in September to 20 in October. Felony investigations were down by 5 from the previous month, 10 in September, 5 in October. And misdemeanor investigations, conversely, were up by 5 from the previous month. We had 23 of those for the month of October. Of the major assault, homicide, those types of things, we had none of those, luckily, for the month of October. There was one minor assault, a couple of burglaries to either buildings or vehicles. That was up 1 from the previous month. No vandalisms reported for the month of October. 2 thefts, which was down a couple from the previous month. Disturbances stayed on par at 6, and 1 trespasser call or prowler call and 1 stolen vehicle call for the month of October. Alarms were down. Patrol checks, so that would be anything from foot patrols, business checks, just general patrol checks in general. We had 51 of those conducted in the month of October. Then it looks like our unwanted subjects and or trespass camping calls were up a bit from September. We had 4 of those in September, 18 of those reported in October. And then with that, traffic stops and vehicle investigations for the month of October were also up. We had 67 of those conducted in the month of September, and that was at 83 for the month of October for that. So with that, I also looked at some of our other stats that are compiled for Blue Lake. Again, as my understanding with these other stats, that also goes into expanding out beyond just the incorporated city itself. And it looked like looking at those stats for the last 3 or 4 weeks, calls for service stayed pretty consistent, running around that mid 60s per week for the total numbers of calls for service. Nothing in any of those categories that seem they're showing any kind of a trend of increase in burglaries or particular types of crimes or anything like that. And of those, typically mid 60ish number of calls per week, usually about a third of those are covered just from things like patrol checks and traffic stops and stuff like that. So roughly a third of those are generally deputy initiated activities, not necessarily responding to calls for service of crimes that have occurred or other suspicious activity. So that is what I have for stats. I guess obviously if there's any questions for me.
So, since we border 299, anything that's done along 299 is considered part of the California Highway Patrol. Is that right? So that wouldn't show up in your reports?
Generally speaking, yes. So it would depend on the nature of the call, but for the most part, yeah, most stuff that's going to be on or along the freeway is typically going to be a CHP call. And yeah, wouldn't typically be aside from which I think we have on here that might be in our other stats. We usually do have transfer calls in there. So calls that would be transferred to another agency, they're usually not broken down by which agency they're transferred to, but that would include things like anything that we get that initially comes to us if we were to transfer to CHP or fire or medical or some other agency. There would be somewhat of a record of it through that, but yeah, we don't, and it's not like I said, we could get it if we needed to, but as far as how those are done, they're not typically broke down by agency. It's just kind of all lumped together with all the transfer calls. But and then obviously with CHP and how 911 and stuff is routed typically from cell phones, a lot of those calls will go directly to them anyways and not necessarily ever come through the sheriff's office.
Okay, very
Do you
interesting.
consider, or do you have a transfer in between the Rancheria law enforcement and the sheriff?
Do as far as yeah, I mean when there's calls if they have so like right now Chief Miller is the only cross deputized um, member of the Rancheria Police Department. They have another officer that's in field training with the sheriff's office right now to get his cross deputization. But yeah, if there was something occurring at the Rancheria, especially if he was off, Chief Miller's on duty, then we may respond as well depending on what it is. But yeah, there are times when those calls will be transferred that way if it doesn't go directly through the Rancheria.
Any other questions from commissioners before I open it up to public?
We used to have the statistics as part of our packets. and
Yes,
on
I
the
know.
agenda too.
Yeah.
So can we make that request?
Yeah, let's put that as a future agenda
staff?
item because I think we've mentioned that before. So, police log, isn't it called?
It's sheriff's log?
Or sheriff's log?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, the stats are usually sent to I believe, the city manager.
Okay.
Every month. So yeah, and then they should be able to get whatever, stats are forwarded.
Yeah,
to
we've
the
gotten
city
them
each
in the
month. Yeah.
past, so it's unusual that we haven't
Yeah, if
gotten
you
them.
just ask for the sheriff's office stats, whatever, I'm sure they'll know what your monthly stats. They'll know what you're referring to get you those.
Right. Pretty much what you just gave us
Yeah, it's
orally.
basically the
Just,
same thing I just
yeah.
gave you. Yeah,
yeah, but it's nice to have the figures in
Yeah.
front of us and we can ask
but it's
better
nice to
questions.
see it ahead of time and have an idea. So there's something versus hearing the numbers for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how long you've been with the department, but are the statistics for October pretty in line with what's been happening in the past years for this month?
I mean, I couldn't say for
Yeah.
sure without going back and looking at those
Yeah.
for the past years. I
Yeah.
would guess that they're probably fairly consistent. I don't think any
Okay.
significant change to anything that I would see looking at this.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Commissioners, Ted and Lynn? All right, open up to public. Anyone have questions from the public? All right, well, thank you very much for coming, Josh. Thank you for your report. We appreciate it. And then also, do we have an agency check-in from the Rancheria? Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for coming out.
So, hello, my name's Andrew. I'm the emergency manager for Blue Lake Rancheria. As of this month, I have been there in that position for a year.
Andrew, would you give us your last name for the record?
Bogar, Bogar.
Thank you.
So we've recently completed training with so it's flood fight training for the Department of Water Resources, which members of the community, City of Blue Lake, were able to participate in. So I'm glad we got ahead of that before the rain really set in. Coming up next, we have MGT 383, which is Emergency Operation Plans for Rural Jurisdictions, and that'll be in November 12th. There's still plenty of seats available, but if anyone's interested in writing emergency plans, so if anyone knows where your emergency operations plan is, your EOP, um, looking through that, updating it, making sure that it's still relevant and up to date, meets your needs. If you have any questions on how to do that, this is a free class that'll help kind of. Uh,
What time is that on the 12th?
that'll start on 8 a.m. and will run to 5. It
Oh,
is
wow.
only it's only a single day.
Okay.
Yep. And then I'll just from there, I'll do a quick rundown. All of this information can be found on the Resiliency Training and Innovation Center's website, or RTIC. December 10 to 11, we have ICS 400. January 22nd will be MGT 415, which is disaster recovery in rural communities. So essentially, should the worst happen, the water rises, the fire moves through, how do we put the pieces back together? And then February 10th through 12th will be ICS 300. And then March 11th through 12th, we'll be doing ICS 400 again. We're still actively looking for other courses to bring to the community, but we're getting ready to go into the period of looking at next year's calendar and putting on what we would like to host. We have some capacity still to teach some community emergency response team training, some disaster preparedness academies. We still have some financial fuel left in the tank to do that. We are also now qualified as of this week to do first aid, CPR, AED. We're still working on the logistics of how we're going to facilitate that. But both myself and one of my coworkers are certified to teach that. We just got to put our ducks in a row to make sure we can actually deliver on it and do all the back end administrative to issue certificates of completion.
Oh,
So-
will there be a cost?
More than likely, there'll need to be a cost because the data management on the back end for the Red Cross, there is a need to pay for that. But the idea of keeping it as realistically inexpensive to the consumer or the student is what we'd like to look at. One of the things that we are realizing is in the current environment where grant funding is becoming restrained. If anyone's paying attention to the news, and just early this year, we were just saying, hey, all grants have been frozen. Like you could feel the anxiety across all of the nonprofit communities and organizations that rely on grant funding. My department's 100% grant funded. And so one of the things we are looking at is what courses can we provide that will help keep enough fuel in the tank, as I like to say, in order for us to meet the needs of our community. At no point does anyone expect to, at no point are we going like, well, we're all going to get rich off of this. It's really to serve the greater needs of the community, and what we're trying to do is make sure that we can sustain the programs that we currently are providing. So we want to be able to keep doing that regardless of where the grant situation is moving forward. So
Do members of our Blue Lake Fire Department attend some of your training? I know they do a lot on their own, but have you noticed that, or have you reached out to them for these?
we do reach out.
Classes.
Our training's available to everyone online, and we announce it as broadly as we can. I have recently seen someone from Blue Lake Fire participate in one of our courses. I didn't recognize the person, but I recognized the image. So I do know that they do participate, and with the 300 and the 400 coming up, those are courses that most professional first responders need to get their hands on. They're always welcome to sign up and participate in the classes.
And those will be at your Justice building? Is that what?
Yes,
Called,
and
yeah.
then we're looking forward to when the fencing comes down and the driveway's open. We can let people into the new facility that we've been building, the TAM, which has a number of classrooms in it. And my job once that is open is to ensure that relevant and meaningful training is always being held there.
Well, that room that we had that one training at was quite adequate. I thought you had internet and you had a big screen, so it was really a good room.
Yep.
But it depends on how many people you want. It wouldn't accommodate a large group.
So the space that you all took the flood fight training in, there's actually accordion wall that could be dismantled and hidden, so
Oh,
we can double that space if and
oh,
when need be. That does affect our elders meal program because that's where that food's prepared and served. But we could do that. That room also doubles as an emergency operations center. So should there be an actual event going on, all bets are off. We're busy responding to an emergency. We actually have a classroom in our clinic as well. And then we have a number of spaces around the rancheria that are available to us. And we try to stay flexible with the needs because it's not just our department, there's a myriad of departments that are always looking for training. For example, in February, we're working with a couple of partners and it's not on the calendar yet because we're still working on putting together and finding the instructors, but a wildland firefighter training for youth interested in seniors coming out of high school and wanting to go into wildland firefighting as a career. So that'll be February, the week of February 16th, I believe.
Do you know how often you're thinking about doing the first aid training?
That's what we're still trying to figure out is what is going to be to meet the need of the community and make sure that we don't burn ourselves out in the process because it's just the two of us. But then also we can't detract from the other work that we have to do. We have to redo our THIRA program. Our THIRA, which is the threat, risk, and hazards assessment. So I know that's due. Grant reporting is due. It's nonstop. It's the best job I've had so far. But I want to make sure that we find work-life balance for my folks. Because if we can't, one of the things I tell them, we don't put our masks on first, there's not enough of us left over to help other people. So we want to make sure that we find a stride that doesn't break us.
all right. Thank you very much. Any other questions from commissioners? All right. Any from the public? All right. Well, thank you for taking your time out this evening to come and visit us.
Thank you
We
for
appreciate that.
extending the welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. You're always welcome here. All right, we'll move on then to items.
Oh, just one more
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
So I'm wondering if the agents are getting emails and notice of this meeting, and could we include them on the list to get the agenda in the packets?
Okay, so that would be Red Cross and the Blue Lake Fire specifically, because it
Yeah, all-
looks like
all
the
4 of
sheriff
them.
and yeah.
Yeah, just so then they would know.
Yeah, I don't know how they've done that in the past. I know with Blue Lake Fire, we always had Mandy Maker here, and she used to give us a report about
Mhm.
the fire department. So we'd have to
Good if the
reach
chief-
out to
if the chief knew though.
the chief. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chief Fanuka, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll make a note of that under future agenda items. Okay, if there's nothing else on this item, we'd like to move on to item 6. The Public Safety Fair was September 20th, 2025, and we're kind of going to have a discussion about some of the pros and cons and how it went. Weather was an issue that day. We had some rain in the morning, and then it cleared up a little bit. Thankfully, Ted Hales brought a covering, a canopy for our information booth, and it had a back panel so that the wind wasn't blowing us away either, and the rain wasn't coming in. But overall, I think it was a very positive experience. I know for the people that were there, they were very happy. And we had, out of the 14 agencies signed up, we had 12 that were there. So we had 2 no-shows, basically. But Lynn and I met with Molly Homan about a week after the fair, and we went over some of the pros and cons of the fair and how it went. And I know, Lynn, you made quite a few notes about that. A lot of it had to do with the publicity was an issue, I think, one of the things. And then the food was an issue because we didn't have free food that day. So we had a food truck there, and he didn't do as well as we would have liked. And so that was one of the cons that we had noted. But we did have 12 vendors or agencies. We had this was a large vision of it, but we had a little bingo game that the children could go around and get stamps and then come back and get prizes. We were giving out a lot of free items from our booth, first aid kit, flashlights, bubbles, just a uh, whole group of things given out. The Redwood Coast Mountain Biking Association was there, and they were giving out free helmets. And one thing that we should have had was we should have had them notified that they were going to be there and doing that, because we would have put that in the publicity. So that was a kind of a surprise, and it would have been a nice thing for the community to know about. Anyway, we have a lot of information for next year's to make it even better. We did have a problem with the date. It was the same date as the North Country Fair, which may have pulled a lot of families away from the event. And there was one other thing that was going on that day. But anyway, I know the North
Lots
Country
of
Fair
things.
did it. Yeah. So we want to look maybe at the date and adjust that accordingly.
Yeah, another big difference was that the resource center was not able to contribute any staff on that day because of the cuts, the elimination of the AmeriCorps program. So Molly Hummon, who had pretty much set up the model for doing the fair, she said, I can do the recruitment, I can do everything, but we cannot work on that day. So we got volunteers from Blue Lake to work the fair from the CERT team and from the Crows, and that part worked out well. And Molly she did a really good job of recruiting. But the date, yeah, really, I think the date the traditional date was the weekend before. So I think we need to go back to that weekend because that was many more people showed up last year. And
Yeah.
I
And
think the
I
date had a lot to do with it. The free food probably
helped.
was not having free food would probably made a difference too.
Yeah, we weren't able to get that date. By the time we decided we were going to have the fair, I notified the Parks and Rec Department, and the picnic grounds was rented that day,
Right.
that weekend. That's what happened. So we really have to get our
Now,
order in. Yes, probably it wouldn't be a bad idea to get it
Mhm.
in sooner rather than later, because people start renting the picnic area. So that
Yeah.
spot evaporates.
And then the rain was a problem. The problem is that we had the Touch a Truck event, and the Touch a Truck was really popular with the kids and families. But at the very last minute, Glenn drove out and said, "Can't have trucks on the field because the field was too soft," and he didn't want to tear it up, of course. So we had to pivot. And Kit Mann was kind of took charge. He was a point person for working with the trucks, and they went and put the trucks along the road on Blue Lake Boulevard. Excuse me, not the Blue Lake
No,
Boulevard. I'm sorry,
railroad.
railroad. Um, and actually, the trucks liked it. They kind of said the ambulance, for one thing, when they come, they have to be able to leave because they're on duty, and they had to leave in the middle of it and come back. So that worked out really well for them. So I'm thinking that maybe next year we might want to actually put them on the street, but maybe down towards the playground, because when they were up here on Railroad, people came and didn't touch a truck and didn't know that there was a whole fair down in the park, and the vice versa. People who came to the park didn't know because there was no visual connection. So we need to fix that, and
Yeah, they should probably be on Charlton Road,
we have to
on the
do
other
some
side of the playground.
traffic management.
Hmm.
Make some changes, but that, I think if we can get our date now and we have a good model, and I think the rest of it worked pretty well. I brought some new materials that the pod group was able to distribute. And these are from the state. The state has a program, the emergency preparedness program, with called Listos. And they have a kind of a different version This is the old shaky ground that a lot of people are familiar with. This has all the information you need to be prepared for emergencies. And this is a much simpler approach to it. So these disaster ready guides are free, and there's some over there on the table if anybody would like one. And then this was pretty popular because we don't really think about the fact that if there is a really serious disaster, people are affected emotionally. You know, physically is an issue, homes, you know, resources, physical things, but also mental issues are important to be aware of. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just here's some resources here to prepare ourselves. So those new materials are really helpful, I think.
I happen to have a calendar of September 2026, so I believe it would be the 12th instead of the
Okay.
19th.
12.
Anyway, we'll
Next
keep
year.
that. Yeah, we can keep that in
Right.
mind. Any other comments from commissioners before I open up to public?
What did you think, Ted?
Went fairly well, given our constraints, weather and notifications.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
just use what we learned this year to improve it for next year.
Mhm. Is there any comment from public concerning the fair?
I am curious about whether or not the fair is something that has always or traditionally happened annually. Because I think last year there hadn't been one for a while, and then we had one, and it had a huge turnout, and I think the helicopter was part of that.
Right.
But so I just wonder if we did it every other year, if that would maybe have a better result or not. I don't know. I just don't know what the practice has been.
Well, when the Public Safety Commission first formed, one of our goals was to provide public awareness event every year. And we kind of landed in October because thinking that school was back in and that kind of was the time. October was a little bit late. Because in some years we did do a fair like this in the park. Other years we'd have meetings over at the Grange. We had some pretty successful community meetings. One particular year when Lori Dangler came and the Humboldt Municipal Water District came and talked about the dam, safety and that kind of thing. So it's varied as to what events that we have done, and I don't know what in which one. I left the commission after a couple of years, so I don't know in the interim. I know they did do some fairs, but probably not every year.
Right.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with the consistency and doing it. If we find next year we still have a low turnout, then that might be something to talk about. I don't know.
Thank you.
Any other comments from public? Okay, we'll move on then to item 7. Refrigerator emergency magnets, discussion, possible recommendations to the council. And you all have your pictures of the magnet. I have the actual one from my refrigerator, looking pretty banged up. So I did contact the sheriff department per your suggestion, Elise, and I talked with Katie there, and she said, no, there's no money for anything like that. So then where I went was the Pacific Paradise K. I was going to say Pacific. Okay, Paradise K in town here. I thought, let's go local. And so I brought the magnet, and he got back to me and said, for 500 magnets, this is basically the size of a business card, it would be $200, which I think is pretty reasonable. And there's about a 3-week turnaround. 3 weeks for him to do it. They can print it right away, but they can't get the magnet, get it all put together. So I'm wondering where to proceed from here. Is it something we need to recommend to the city council if we decide to go this route? And it's such an inexpensive item, and yet I think it's so important. We've verified all the phone numbers. The only thing we should change, the 911 should be the same, but we should add 707 to all of these, because when children if a child, say, is making one of these phone calls, or even adults forget that we have to add that 707 at the beginning. So that is one thing. And then the other thing I thought would be nice is to somehow get our new logo in there, which Paradise K can do that. A small version of it, like I have a small one. Oh, we have this one here. It could be either the one with the
Well,
seagull
that's
or
full color though, so
yeah.
we're gonna bump up the cost perhaps.
I don't know because he saw this and saw that it was 2 color
Mhm.
because it's got the city blue. So anyway, we can discuss it. They're all out of them at City Hall. They're clean out. They used to give them out
Mhm.
regularly.
I wonder if, does the Grange still have grant funds, do you know? Sometimes I know the Grange contributes to projects like this.
Um,
That would be a specific request for the Grange for a donation. We don't
Right.
have grants.
For donation, right?
Yeah, we
So
don't.
does that
yeah.
happen still?
You can correspond and request the Grange for money for that.
Has
That
it
would
happened
be-
recently? Are you guys
Well,
aware?
like we get requests from like the museum or Del Art or whatever groups, they ask for like one-time donations.
Right,
Um, and so you can ask for one and then we would vote on it.
okay.
But it's not just the Grange. There's the Monica Club,
mhm,
there's the Ladies of the Lake, there's the Old Crows.
mhm.
And $200 is in this day and age chump change.
I know.
I mean, I'd be willing to kick in $50.
I know. I was
Right.
thinking of that
Mhm.
too. I would be
So
willing
I
to
think,
donate.
but it's also good to get the community aware because I think that that type of magnet on a refrigerator is a good idea.
Mhm.
And I think that if we put it out there as if we have license from the council to put it out there as a public safety commission to write the letters to those organizations, or the council can do it. I'm not just that we start that way, and then whatever doesn't come in from those organizations, perhaps individuals who
Self-funded.
with an interest in it can serve as a backup without any
Mhm.
problem.
Mhm.
One
Because-
thing I would like to consider is adding our evacuation zone to the magnets. It's a little bit problematic though,
Yeah,
because
that's big.
um, because the evacuation zone, any of us who've seen the publicity or seen what happened when the fires were happening, you saw that the sheriff uses the evacuation zone numbers to tell you whether or not you have to evacuate quickly. So it's an emergency situation, and I don't think most people know what the evacuation zone is. But as you can see on this map right here, the zone for Blue Lake, we have one number, and the Rancheria has another zone. So I'll show you all. So this is how the sheriff breaks it up. So we in Blue Lake proper are hum EO49. So that's our evacuation zone. The Rancheria is hum EO48. So if there was a notice, for instance, to evacuate quickly or to be on standby, because maybe you have to evacuate in the future and you just need to be ready, you would need to know what number your zone is. Then this is the freeway. Let's see, up here, 299. So this is just a different zone. And so it's possible people in our area, and certainly in Glendale, could be in a different zone. So the question would be, we function only for the city of Blue Lake, right? That's who we serve. And so our anyone who lives in city limits would be in this zone. But we also want to include the Rancheria folks because they're really kind of part of our city too. So we would put then 2 zones, Rancheria, City of Blue Lake, 2 zone numbers. So that's a
I think
change.
I don't know. I think that's getting a bit more complicated, than
Mhm.
than having all that information on a simple magnet. I think what you're saying is valuable,
Mhm.
definitely, but if most of these numbers are not really for something that's like an evacuation situation,
Right,
because
Yeah,
there's the
yeah,
garbage,
plus on
garbage.
something that size, it's getting very crowded and busy.
right.
And losing the main thrust of that. Here is who if you're having an emergency or something,
Right.
here is who you call. If we're successful with this, and the other is certainly worth doing.
Mhm.
We just repeat the process with that, with another whole magnet.
Which we can do because the alternative is the sheriff has put out separate magnets.
Yeah, you have it
Mhm.
already here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this, it'd be two magnets instead of one. It would be a little more confusing perhaps for people. But I think it's important, particularly because in Blue Lake, we are threatened by the dam failure. And that would be an immediate evacuation situation. I think it's really important for people in Blue Lake to know that there are evacuation zones, and they don't, and what our zone is. So yeah, we could make a concerted effort maybe to distribute. We could get more magnets from the sheriff and distribute at the same time
Mhm.
if you wanted to, or
Well, these have been at City Hall.
Provided some magnets with the evacuation zone information on.
Yeah,
the-
she has a whole box
the,
of
sh-
them.
the sheriff, they have put out some magnets with a place to
Mm.
write in your zone, because of course, these are for people all over the county.
Great, thank you.
So it's possible that we could ask if they had enough magnets to distribute along with our other city magnets.
Right. Well, these are at City Hall is where they are,
Mhm.
where they have all of their, um,
So would we make an effort to
There.
distribute these magnets, or just tell people they're at City Hall? I mean, the new
I would
ones.
just say you tell people they're available at City Hall.
Oh,
mhm. Yeah.
okay.
I would also suggest that the zone that is appropriate to each demographic be put into the cards, the magnets given out. I mean, if a person comes in, picks up this, it tells them nothing.
Yeah. I don't know what my zone is.
Yeah.
How do you find
so-
that
so-
out?
That's what I was just saying. Our zone isn't in the city, is EO 49 in the city of Blue Lake.
CO49.
It's
EO, I
Hum
think.
EO. I'll show you again. So here, so we are Hum EO 49,
HUM
HUM. And if you live in the city of Blue Lake, if you,
EO49.
right,
Okay. Well, that probably should be put in, or at least when those go. Are you going to disseminate these through the City Hall, or how is this
we could
being
do this
disseminated?
along with the new magnets, just have
Oh, yeah.
some.
Okay. Well, what is the feeling of the other commissioners? I mean, I see this as something that I mentioned earlier, children can use,
Mhm.
very easily, something really clear. And parents can say, these are the important numbers. If something happens, grandma or whatever, they know there's numbers there.
Well, yeah, it should just be, make the additions with the, adding the area codes
Hmm.
as appropriate. And,
Those are great. Everybody
Get
gets
'em-
on their refrigerator.
get them
Yeah.
printed up.
Yeah, we had them for years, but they run out of them.
I think particularly the public works emergency number is something people don't know, and they need to know right away
Mhm.
after hours. So I think that's
The
particularly
first
helpful.
step would be find somebody with the expertise to put the necessary information on it that size and draft something that Paradise K can print off of.
Oh, do they do the graphics? Paradise?
Yeah, they
Oh,
do the
yeah,
graphics
yeah,
and everything.
yeah.
He saw this and he gave me that quote, $200 for 500 of them. I said we needed 500, which is the quote I got from Tony Quigley at City Hall. Anyway, so how to proceed is my next question. Do we want to recommend to the city council that they endorse our idea and that we will attempt to get donations for this magnet? I mean, I don't want the burden to be on the city. I know it's only $200, but I don't want the burden to be on the city to pay for it. I think it would be nice if we can, I'd be happy to go to the Grange or the Juanicans and see if we can get some money from either of
That'd be great.
those.
Do we need to bring the council in, do you think, Elise, or are we good just to pursue this on our own?
Yeah.
I think if you guys want to raise money and do it, I think that's kind of all right.
I know that's what I was thinking too. I mean, it's almost like one of those things like, the city has business cards for all of their
Mhm.
all of their staff people,
I
and
suppose
that
if
doesn't go
it's-
through
I
anything.
suppose if it has the city of Blue Lake on it, I guess maybe it should go by the council.
Can you report that to the council and just let them know in your report that that's happening? And if they
Well,
want,
we can also make a motion to recommend to the council that they pursue
Prove this.
this. I think it should go. I think there would be
for
a
approval.
stronger message behind it.
Okay.
See, possible recommendation to the council was what I put on there. So I'll open it up to the public if we're done. Oh, did you want to hang on a minute? Commissioner Ricca wanted to say something.
I would suggest a motion that we request the council to approve, I mean, get council authorization. But in the meantime, we draft a copy, find, a professional copy, and we draft a letter to the organizations requesting, if we have 5 organizations, that'd be $40 a piece of each organization. And I think that's certainly reasonable for this. And pass that motion, and so we can have the letter and hopefully the draft of the card available for the December meeting. In other words, move it along rather than take the laxity.
Anything I think Alex is a good point is that we should have a draft ready to show the council. Since
Of
we're
the-
asking for
the draft of
approval,
both.
you know.
Yeah.
What the actual magnet will look like from Pacific
Yeah,
K? You mean
exactly.
okay.
Yeah. Have
right.
a finished product. They should be able to give that to us and then submit that to the council.
Okay.
Okay, I can go back to Paradise K and ask them for that. All right, persons from public would like to weigh in on this. Are you speaking as a public or as the council?
Oh, I'm both, maybe. I'm just thinking if we're, there's quite a bit of real estate on this mock-up here that doesn't have any numbers in it, we could maybe get the evacuation zone in there and get it all on one card. But my thought, just as far as bringing it to the council, is if you solicit donations and that gets, you get committed donations and then that comes to the council, that makes it easier and quicker to go forward.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So I move that we, sorry.
Other
I
public?
was gonna say, instead of maybe putting a logo on there, which might involve more expense because it isn't colored, perhaps leave that off, just have City of Blue Lake, and then you will have room for the evacuation zones.
There you go.
48 and 49. That would be my suggestion.
So so on this, it should say evacuation zone HUM EO49.
City of Blue Lake, and then the Rancheria, EO48.
Okay, I'm confused now. All right, what
Is
all
it-
should it say now?
Well, if we're going to be also, people in the Rancheria also get water service to the city, I presume.
Yeah,
So,
but they're not part of the city. They're a separate nation.
right.
Okay,
They
go
are.
ahead.
They would, I guess they wouldn't, would they be calling, they'd be calling 911, and maybe they have Blue Lake garbage service. So I think some of these numbers would be helpful to all of us in town, even our neighbors. So we have, because the evacuation zones are different depending on if we live, if someone lives in the city limits or in the Rancheria.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's where I think this is, I mean, we already have these, so I'm not sure if we necessarily need the
Right.
evacuation zone on this. I mean, we can take off the logo if you don't want the logo. I don't think that matters one way or the other.
How much more is the
Percent.
logo anyway? Just have that. It's like $10 or.
No, he didn't say, he just said, because I mentioned it to him. He just gave me a flat fee of $200 for 500 of these.
And it's two,
So-
it's two
It's like
color,
10
right?
or 20, I'll pay that for, put the logo on there. It looks better anyway.
Yeah, I know, that's what I
It's more a question of space
Yeah.
than that,
Yeah.
okay? I mean,
mean,
the
we're talking about
logo's a
this-
good idea, but the information's more important.
Yeah,
And if you make it too busy, too crowded on that,
yeah,
people's eyes glaze over it.
yeah.
And,
I mean, I just noticed that it's pretty small here, or there's this one here that's a little less
Yeah.
busy.
Well, I
It's
think
been
I
used.
withdraw my request to add the evacuation zone on, because the other thing I'm thinking about is this is confusing for people. People don't know what the evacuation
Yeah.
zone is.
Yeah,
And
I think
on
it would
these
be.
magnets, there is the QR code that they can use to find out what we're talking about here.
Which stands for quick response. QR.
Did not know that. So if the logo goes back on and the five numbers,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I think it might be clearer. And then I would like to make a concerted effort to get the sheriff's magnets to people as well. With the
So
QR code on them.
let's have a clean motion now. What would you like to move? That we proceed with
Drafting the
drafting
card,
the magnet
the magnet,
and
letter,
soliciting.
a donation letter to local nonprofits.
Is that a motion?
Uh,
Sure.
I was suggesting it, whether somebody else wants to make it or not, but
No, it sounds good. So the motion stands that we're going to get a prototype of what this looks like and
Mhm.
then proceed with letters to the various,
We should specify, so letters to the Grange and
Yeah.
Juanitas. What are the other organizations?
I would say Grange,
The
Old Crows,
Grange.
Juanitas,
Old Crows really doesn't have money, do they? No, I don't think.
they're individuals. They can do,
Okay,
can take
Old Crows.
they can raise it.
Juanitas
You-
have money.
Well, I think it might
Some.
be most confusing and quicker to just do the two, ask the Grange and the Juanitas.
Oh, okay.
And then that'd be $100 each.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, who wants to write it, the letter?
All
I'll
right.
volunteer if
Oh.
nobody else wants to do
Okay,
it.
Alex, go ahead. get
Okay,
it from you.
and so if I get the letter to
You can get it to
you
me.
and
Well,
Ted,
the
or
Grange
to
meeting is the
Marlene's
12th.
across the street. Is Marlene still president?
Yes,
or
she
that?
is.
I'll take it across the street to her.
Okay, the meeting is the 12th of November, which is roughly 10 days from today.
Okay,
We can work out those details, I think.
okay,
Okay,
$100 a piece. And for the the card listing emergency numbers to call a
a
magnet
magnet, a
card.
refrigerator
Magnet.
magnet using yeah. All right, I can give you more details if you want.
All right, I'll
Um,
try to get that to you 3-4 days.
Okay. Our next Wanika meeting is
So do you have,
this
so
Thursday.
who's making the motion?
Okay, so the motion was made by Alex Ricca to get the prototype from Paradise K of the refrigerator magnet and to begin generating letters to the Grange and
To write the draft
Juanica.
for donation letters to Grange and Juanitas.
Okay, and then we will submit to the council.
Submit the draft to the council.
Yes,
Oh, and then
for their
okay.
approval.
Yeah,
Okay, so that you wanted that included in your
yeah,
motion?
yeah, yeah.
And then
I'll
submit
get
to the
one to
council.
City Hall as well.
Because the next council meeting is on the 19th of November, so we should have that together by then, I'm assuming. All right, is the motion clear to the commission? Get the prototype of the magnet,
Right.
generate the letters, present to the council.
Let's pass that. Let's vote on the motion and then figure out how we're going to get the prototype.
Okay,
Because that's not my purview. I got no idea. on
You
that.
guys can look that up.
yeah,
So you've moved,
Just, yeah,
He's
if you
made a
just tell
motion.
tell them what you want, they'll do it.
yeah, they do whatever you want, and that's the quote
Oh,
they gave me.
Paradise K?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
great.
Oh, okay.
That's why I went there, because they're local. I believe in,
yeah,
I
yeah,
believe in going to
Yeah.
local. You can go to online to get things, but why?
Okay.
All right,
Great,
so
great.
there's a
Thank you.
motion on the floor.
Easy.
We need a second.
I second.
All right, Lynn Glenn seconds. Is there any further discussion from commission? Any discussion from public? Back to commission for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. All right, this is exciting. Um, Item 8 is pretty quick, safe routes to school. That is something that I went to at the Rancheria on Wednesday, September 3rd. It seems like a long time ago now, but and we discussed sharing walking and biking safety concerns. I actually biked over, so that was good. Plan for community programs and projects. We learned about strategies to improve pedestrians and bicyclist safety. Colin Fisk was there from the group that is involved in safe traveling for pedestrians. Our supervisor, Mike Wilson, was there. I was there to represent the city. It was a 2-hour seminar from 3 to 5 and very successful, very interesting. A good lot of information. So that's item 8. Item 9 is our iStreet survey set date to distribute, discussion, and possible action. So we had decided to meet on, I think it was September, what day was that?
13th.
Something like that, yeah. And we met at town hall, the town square, excuse me, but we did not have the surveys because Ted was sick at the time and we didn't get the surveys out. So there was just a small group of us that were there, but we really couldn't move forward with it. Lynn was there, David was there. We were ready to possibly walk. It was a nice day. That's the other thing is if we choose another date, which I'm not opposed to, it's going to have to be weather permitting, as we're looking at the weather to walk around in this kind of weather wouldn't be great. But what is the pleasure of the commission?
Do we have a survey?
We have a survey. We all have copies of it. We had them in our packets from a few
times ago.
times ago. Yeah.
I
if you
just
need-
don't know if City Hall's printed those up yet.
I-
And so
Yeah, I
and
don't
so,
think they have.
I had emailed it to,
And I think that's the
I
problem.
had emailed it to
Tony Quigley?
to Jan, no, to city manager.
Jill Duffy?
Jill, yeah. Jill.
Oh,
I emailed it to Jill the week prior.
oh,
And
it's
so,
just-
and I never heard anything back and I was sick and
right.
it just wasn't my focus.
Yeah.
I mean, we can set a tentative date and we just really need to follow up with City Hall and make sure that we have them all printed out and we're ready to go. And then
There it
depending
is.
on weather, then we can just decide.
Is this
no.
the survey?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the survey.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's look at possible dates. I think we had a Saturday the last time, which seemed to work out for everyone. So we have the 8th of November, we have the 15th of November, the 22nd starts getting into, Thanksgiving week and stuff. But anyway, we could shoot for one of those dates.
I think the 15th would probably be your closest best.
Okay.
Currently, it's looking like it's going to be rain this coming weekend.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So I think, and that's all weather, it's all weather permitting.
Exactly.
I think we have to be flexible as far as being able to say, hey, it's going to be sunny, so let's go do it.
No, we have to choose a date, and then if it's rainy, we have to
An alternate
decide.
date. Should we probably choose
November
2 dates?
15th, Saturday,
Can
excuse
we
me.
choose 2 dates in case we get rained out?
Well, we could. The 22nd is the beginning of Thanksgiving week, but I don't know if that's a problem for people. Okay,
mean-
so we want to choose the 15th or the 22nd,
Rebecca?
preferably at the 15th. Okay. Was it 11 a.m.? Is that when I think it was something like 11 a.m. Do you remember, Teresa? Was it 11? Yeah, I don't remember.
That
Well,
sounds fine to me.
11
It
a.m.
was 11 a.m.
Yeah. Okay, 11 a.m. Town Square on the 15th. And maybe you can resend it to Jill or something with that information, or
Yeah,
we can
I'll
get,
talk to her and see if if she has it.
okay. And then we'll do a backup on the
I'll follow up.
22nd.
I'll follow up with Jill.
I will not be able to do that. I have not gotten my wind back from my bout with COVID.
Okay.
It's lingering longer than I like. My
Sorry.
legs are not what they were, so
Mhm.
my walks are shorter. I'm not sure how long they're under 15 minutes. So
Okay.
I have to take a pass on the distribution. I was looking forward to it, but
Well, I think
can't risk it.
between us and I don't know if Donald can do it, but I know there were a number of neighbors that showed up that day also.
do
Teresa
that
was
day.
there and
I can't do it on the 15th, but I'd be happy to take, if you give me the areas that didn't get hit, I'd be happy to do it on other days besides that.
thank
Oh.
you.
yeah. Buster Ledesma was there that day.
So we need to
Information.
talk about the process though, because that was a problem that came up. We want to make sure that people understand what we expect of them. They may or may not have someone to talk to at the house. So we're planning on we leave these at the door if no one's there, right?
Yeah, that was the thought. You're right, though. We were going to put in must be returned by a certain date.
I believe that's in the final draft.
Okay,
I put
so
that
we
in.
would have to adjust that maybe
Right.
till the end of November or something.
Yeah.
Right, and I think it's important, but what came up in our discussion at the square was that we not say things to the folks that makes to sway them in any one direction. It's clear we want to get their ideas and their
Yeah. This is distribution. This
preferences.
isn't lobbying.
Exactly.
Right.
So we don't want it to be seen as lobbying. So I think it's important just to say that we're doing the survey. We'd like it to be returned by this time if they have any questions.
Okay.
But make sure that it's a really clear that we want their input
Yeah.
on this issue.
Sounds good. All right. November 15th, Saturday. Okay. Is there any input from the public on this item?
What's
All right.
this particular one or?
This is just this one. Yeah, hold on, Donnie. We are coming to the speed hump thing. All right, so the I Street survey, we've got that set. All right. Number 10 is October 16th was the Great American Shakeout. How did it go? Commissioner Glenn, report and discuss.
Okay, so did everyone observe the shakeout this year? Did you know there was a shakeout?
I knew there was
This
one,
year?
but I admit it
Okay.
came and
I think
went.
my granddaughters mentioned it to me.
Okay, that's good.
I know the school who did it.
So the shakeout is something that we do every year. It was October 16th this year, always the third Thursday. And the reason we do the shakeout is because Humboldt County is one of the most seismically active areas of the country, the continental United States. We have more earthquakes here than anybody. We also know that historically there has been a 9 earthquake. And we saw Fukushima, we saw what that means. And when that happens, there'll be both an earthquake and a tsunami. We can anticipate that there will be definitely be earthquakes and some big ones that we need to deal with. And the best way to be able to respond properly and take care of ourselves and our families and our property is to practice. So muscle memory is what we talk about a lot with this. Drop, cover, and hold on. That's something that all the kids learn at school. If you ask any child what to do for an earthquake, they will tell you drop, cover, hold on. If you ask the adults, they'll say get in the doorway, run out the door. The adults don't quite have it down quite as much as they should.
Yeah, and going outside is one of the worst things you can do, is what I've
Yes,
understood.
the reason for drop, cover, hold on is that most of the injuries that happen during earthquakes happen when people are moving. So you want to stay put and you want to protect your head and neck. Now you'll notice I have some handouts over there, but for you guys too. But there are some modifications that happened this year to drop, cover, and hold on to acknowledge the fact that everybody cannot drop. And and hold on. Some people, if they drop down, will never get back up again, or they will have difficulty doing so. So, and some people are in wheelchairs, some people have canes. So they've modified the practice now. So if you are in a wheelchair, for instance, you lock your wheels and you cover your head and neck. If you have a cane, you brace yourself, you sit down if you can. Again, cover your head and neck. If you have artificial knees and can't get down on the floor, same thing. You want to find a safe place, brace yourself, sit down if you can. If you can't, up against a wall with no windows. But the whole idea is to stabilize yourself, avoid falling over, and protect your head and neck, and protect yourself from flying glass and anything else that might be falling on you. So this is something new, like I said, that everyone should be aware of, but practicing is really important. And the other thing that happens during on the shakeout is, for instance, we have our neighborhood pod uses the shakeout for a drill every year. So we did an assembly drill this year, and that means that we practiced our procedures that we are teaching ourselves to follow, and we check on ourselves and our families and our homes. We put up a sign in the window, okay or help, depending on how we survived the earthquake. And then we check on, we have 17 families in our neighborhood group. And then we have within those families, we have buddy groups. So the buddy groups check on each other, we text each other, and then we report, those of us who are home, report to the food booth in the park. That's our assembly point, and see if everybody's okay. So we practiced doing that, and it went pretty well. Some people were at work because, you know, it happens it was on the 16th of October, so it was 10:16, so we did it at 10:16 in the morning. If it's on the 17th, you do it at 10:17. So we did that part, and people were at work. So some people texted the folks at work. Yes, they were okay. Maybe they said, "Can you check my house to make sure the gas line's not broken, water?" So we kind of were trying to simulate the earthquake as much as we could. And the fun part is, we decided that next year we're going to include some problems. Somebody's going to have a fire at their house. Somebody might have some injuries. So we're kind of talking about that. The kids are really excited about this. So it's something we can be ready for. We're going to need to find out who has first aid training, you know, who has fire extinguishers. We all have fire extinguishers in our house that we can find. Anyway, it's a good time to practice. There's a really good website called shakeout.org, and there's information for your business, if you want to practice at your business, for your school, your healthcare facility. So there's a lot of resources. And in California and Humboldt County particularly, it's a really important day for all of us to do that. And we can do it any day if we want to, but it's a day that we can all practice together. And it's done internationally.
Thank you. Okay, any concerns, questions from commissioners? Anyone from audience who should weigh in on this? Thanks for all that information, Lynn. That's always wonderful. Thank you. We're on item 11, skunk rabies issue in Blue Lake discussion. At the last city council meeting, we did have somebody from the Division of Environmental Health, the Public Health of the Humboldt County Department of Human Health and Services, and he gave a very good discussion for the council and those that were in attendance. There were a lot of people there that evening, so it was good that the information got out. He also had some pictures on the television that showed, the animals and what animals are carriers of it and that kind of thing. He mentioned bats and some other animals. One of the things he mentioned in Blue Lake, and I see all the apples here, it makes me think of it, is that we have a lot of, especially apples in town, that attract animals like skunks. And so then the likelihood of something like that happening is higher because of that. So it is a problem, and he had some statistics about how many people have been affected by it through the years. It was really very informative. You would have loved it. Oh, you watched it
I
on
watched it on
the
YouTube.
video. Okay.
And Justin, what is the YouTube channel again? So people can watch this.
Blue Lake Community News.
Blue Lake Community News on YouTube. And it's at about the 30-minute mark. And it's an excellent, excellent presentation. Rabies is fatal. So if an animal gets rabies, if one of your pets, wild animals, they will die. We'll kill them. If a person gets rabies, if they are untreated, they will also die. So it's a very, very serious disease. And we find it happens in Blue Lake cyclically, so every 10 years or so. It's Blue Lake, I think Fortuna often has cases. There are some areas of the county that have it more often than others. The wild animals that tend to get it most often are skunks, bats, foxes. They're the most common. There were 2 rabid skunks found in Blue Lake in the last month or 2, I think. They were skunks that were taken to the Wildlife Care Center. They were acting strange, and so they died, and they were tested, and their brains were positive for rabies. There were 3 skunks the sheriff was called out for, and the sheriff came out and dispatched them. And they didn't test them, but they were acting sick, so they presumed to have had rabies. So the advice is, number 1, get your animals vaccinated. And a lot of people do not vaccinate their cats. So cats are most often pet carriers of rabies because they're not vaccinated. Dogs have to be vaccinated to be licensed. So that would be an important thing to do to make sure your cats are vaccinated. Don't feed wild animals. I've seen a lot of people who are feeding skunks because they're really cute, but then that makes them more in proximity to your house and to your pets. So they recommend do not feed wild animals. If you find a dead wild animal, particularly skunks, and I believe Ben Dolph is the person who's in charge of rabies at Environmental Health, and he was the one who made the presentation.
Yeah.
And he said that this last week there was a dead skunk found by the city again. I think it was over by the ponds, I think. So if you find a dead wild animal, treat it as if it could potentially have rabies. So do not touch it. Saliva is the way that rabies is passed. Make sure you wear gloves. You can use a shovel, double bag it. You can put it in the garbage. But he said, so vaccinate your animals. If you do have human contact, certainly public health has a program, and that you can be vaccinated, and they will work with you. And they work with the humans, but environmental health works with animals. And if you need to have an animal tested, they will test an animal for free. So it's an important thing for us to know about. And, we just keep ourselves safe and our pets safe as well. So these are really good brochures. There's some brochures over there. There's these at City Hall, and it tells you all about the specifics.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions from commission?
Mothballs are a really good cheap deterrent for skunks. You can put them around your house, but your cats won't like them either. But if you want to have a select area where you want them not to get into a shed or something like that, put a bunch of mothballs around there. You still get them at Dollar Tree. So that's something to think about.
No, that wasn't mentioned that evening.
No.
Thank you.
Anything mint, if you get wild mint, it works good for them. But
They don't like mint either?
rats.
Oh,
It's really good.
okay. Any other questions or comments from public? Okay, thank you for that information. And yes, it was a good discussion at the council meeting and a good presentation. Item 12, increase of speed bumps throughout the city, discussion.
Don called me in time for the October meeting, which was canceled, wanting speed bumps around and about his location at A and Broad Streets. We missed the October meeting. It was canceled for some reason. I don't remember. And so I called him this afternoon, reminded him he had oral surgery today and is dedicated enough to this issue to appear here tonight. Both Don and I have spoke to residents in and about that intersection. Not one has objected to speed bumps. So my inclination at this point is to proceed. I mean, I would hate to have the commission duplicate what has happened with the I Street proposal. I mean, it's just it's dragged on too long for the citizens and so on. And there's no blame or anything in that statement. It's just a fact. And I would like us to take the location that has been accepted is a Wall Street from basically the one speed bump on each block from First to what is it, C Street up there where the Shepherd property is. And just one in each block. And then along A Street there, we'd have one on between Greenwood, Wall,
That's Broad
Broad,
Street, Broad, yeah.
Broad, and then I'd put one between Broad and Hartman down there, just to
Yeah.
get people slowing down.
Yeah, between Wall
A
and
Street's
Hartman.
the worst, right there. I mean, I live on that corner of Main and Broad Street, so
Yeah.
people fly through there constantly. They act like there's no stop sign there. I might have confronted a couple of them over the years because my granddaughter, we just took the training wheels off her bike. And people are in a hurry and their lives are busy. Whatever, you're taking your kid to school and you got other things going on. I don't care. I just want a speed bump there. Right now, Cash and Melissa said, well, you can put it right in front of their place, which would be awesome. Like 30 feet recessed in from that stop sign there on A Street.
Yeah, mid-block on those blocks going through there,
it's a
all of
ideal
them.
spot where people, so they won't be able to get up momentum coming from the other end of the block, and they'll see that there.
Yeah.
So that's just past your house to the east? Is that where you're thinking?
Yeah, just thought like, say you're coming up A Street from the church and you get to Cash and Melissa's place, you just.
I don't
back
know
up
who
20 feet
Cash
and
and
put it right
Melissa.
there.
Yeah, Cash.
Oh, Cash
And
Bujo. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
the speed bumps that people with whom I spoke wanted were the ones that you just set down, the rubberized ones that you bolt into the
Oh,
street.
and those
The
are
one-
speed humps, I think.
Speed humps, okay. And
Yeah,
that's
a bump is actually a higher thing.
so
The
there's no
speed hump
construction
is more of the lower
involved,
type.
and Public
I
Works can
learned
do
about
it.
this.
Public Works can do it like that, and I think we're
They have
talking
them.
a little. We're talking there'd be another 4. That's 8, and probably one at least. I would say to the below, coming down to First Avenue here from your place, because you have that intersection where I've seen people come where the Y is. You know, that thing come around that corner pretty fast too.
Yeah, oh yeah, people are in a hurry these days, and like I said, the city council, we used to have a peace officer in front of the school every morning before Gunderson became sheriff and whatever out here. And that was a great deterrent. People, it's pouring down rain, people are dropping off their kids, they're on their way to work in that same spot right there. And we don't have any police out here, let alone traffic, and this is the best thing we could do to slow down.
So I think we're talking about 10 of the speed humps
So
through
I
that
don't want it in
neighborhood,
my
huh?
place.
Well,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
I don't know, personally, I think that's a little bit of an overkill,
It's
but
one a
I
block.
do,
It's one a block.
2 a block?
One
Oh,
a
one.
block
Okay.
for an
Well,
extended
part of-
area, but it's slowing it down
Well,
all
part
through
of the
that area.
problem with A Street was when it was built really wide. That was the idea.
yeah.
And that makes people think it's a freeway or,
Yeah.
someplace to go fast. So you're suggesting 1 per block.
Midway from basically
So 1 from Greenwood to Broad, that's 1. From Broad to Wall, that's 2. And from Wall to Greenwood, that's 3, in my opinion.
okay, but you have the other direction. You're going just
Right. I'm just going on A Street. That's what I'm
yeah.
thinking first of all.
Okay,
3
so-
on A.
So you need
Well, here's what
I've seen people fly through there.
we probably should do since it's a discussion, it's not an action item,
No.
is you should get a map
Mm-hmm.
of that neighborhood and draw it in.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, we're not going, no, by Fred's house, no, by Jabe's house.
Right.
Just have it
Gosh,
map,
Melissa's house.
map it,
Yeah.
and then present it.
Uh-huh.
And then
Okay,
we can just say, okay, put it to the council or Public Works, whoever approves that, whoever does that.
okay,
Make the plan,
Okay.
have a
Okay.
map that shows where they're gonna be.
Okay. So
Okay.
consensus
dragged
wise,
out.
we need to
I don't
kind of-
wanna, I don't wanna drag it out either, but
no,
you can't, nobody can do anything with what we're giving them. We have to have a map. You have
Some kind of precise.
to have a map. You have to have a map so that Glenn and his people could look at that map and go, okay, it goes here.
okay, I got some
Okay, it
grant,
goes here. Okay, it goes here.
Well, first it's gotta go.
It's got to be approved. Once it's approved, yeah. Once
Yeah,
once
yeah,
it's
yeah.
approved.
There's a
Yeah,
cost
I'm scared it's
associated with
gonna get
each
so
speed
big
bump.
now that it's gonna be, everybody's gonna be, we'll have to wait 3 months for the one in front of our place that we really are requesting before the whole mass can get accepted at one time. Can we just do the 8th Street one right now, and then you guys can work on whatever you think are other spots, or I'll help you with it? Is that okay? So it
Well, the
doesn't-
city engineer came and talked to us a few months ago about the processes that has to happen when you change things with like traffic signals, traffic stop signs, any kind of things with the
Speed
roads.
bumps.
Speed
Yeah.
bumps, those are all, changes to the roadway.
Right.
And they involve safety, and they involve, I think, some kind of precedence. There's a study that has to go in, has to be done for traffic signs, I believe. But there's some rules and regulations, basically, because we are a city. Always, yeah, we're a city, and we have, and the city has liability, and everybody pays for it if there's a problem. So you want to do it right. But I think it's, yeah.
I think Ted's right. I think I'll map out the for A Street and Wall Street, because those are the two areas which have approved this, the people.
Yeah,
And
you probably have a good idea.
Yeah.
So you should get with Alex.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And just look at it, get blow up a map of the area and then put it in and submit a plan. We request it's a simple. We request the speed bumps be put in these locations. And kind of think it through a little bit. What if I don't get my way with the 10 that I want? Where are the critical ones? Where do I want the critical ones then?
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. Don't
And
get
so
me
you
wrong.
give,
I'm for
I
speed
totally
humps.
get it.
I
I
like
totally
the
get it. I'm
idea.
saying if you give somebody something that's done and finished, it's a lot easier for them to go, oh, okay. If you just talk about stuff
Small town
and
atmosphere, I figured I could just
Yeah.
ask the city council in here, and that'd be good. Cash is a draftsman, My father was a drafting professor. It's nothing.
That way.
I know.
Yep.
Government, all the formalities are kind of overwhelming.
All right.
sometimes.
If it's your own driveway, you
Don?
can do it.
It's a big
Yeah, you
one.
can do it.
Don, I'll get you the map sometime in the next week.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And then we'll just draw some lines on there, or that's okay,
Well,
necessary, right?
It's just going to be lines, and maybe you can then give it to Cash, and he may be able to fancy it up.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I'm sure you'd be okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
tired of it too.
So yeah.
Okay, we have a plan here.
Good idea, Ted.
I mean, we have talked about, this idea here has come up, increase of speed bumps throughout the city, because we've looked at other areas of the city too.
Yeah, we're talking about I Street.
We were talking a lot about I Street, and somebody brought up the fact that, well, there's a tree route on I Street that's working as a speed hump and, in a natural way.
Plant a tree.
Yeah, so plant a tree. Not advocating that, but anyway, those kinds of things happen in the small towns, and large.
She has
Um,
to say too, man.
Go on
Yeah.
another subject.
Yeah.
Do public comment at the microphone.
Yeah. That's probably a good idea. Let me just make sure that we're all on the same page as far as this goes, that we're gonna,
I like the map idea,
Mhm.
and
proceed with that.
then talking to Cash and
Okay.
proceeding in the right direction.
Okay, so we're opening up for public now.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I'm not sure the speed bumps on Railroad Avenue really slow down the cars. They're really mild. So that might be something to consider. If you're gonna put one in, put it in, make it big enough so that it actually slows cars down.
See, that's the difference between a speed hump and a speed bump. The hump is smaller, the bump is larger.
There's a lot of bump then.
Uh-oh, okay.
Just bringing that up, because those small ones will do,
Yeah.
especially people that have stints on their cars.
I would just like to share that I live on Railroad and I'm between speed bumps. And we started out with the rubber ones that get nailed into the pavement, and now we have the ones that are made of asphalt. And they're bigger. The asphalt ones are much bigger than the other ones were, but they're a more gentle up and down. And so you can probably go over them doing maybe 10 miles an hour if you don't like your car very much. The other ones, if you hit them at more than 5, that just you're going to completely ruin your car. And they were really, really loud. I can't tell you how many times I woke up in the middle of the night because somebody hit one of those speed bumps. They didn't see it and they hit it too fast, and it made their vehicle rattle really bad or jump around or whatever. So those hard rubber ones are pretty awful. That's a 5 mile an hour speed bump. The other ones maybe are 10s. So I think if you want to slow traffic down, the asphalt ones are better, gentler. They're not going to wake people up in the middle of the night if somebody hits one, and a trailer attached to their truck just starts bouncing down the road. So it's, I don't know if you spent it much, if you'd experienced both of them, I think you'd understand what I'm talking about. I think they both slow the traffic down quite well.
That's a great point. Maybe some paint in front of them or around them, something to catch people's eye. But they look right at the stop signs and cruise through them already. So I even considered putting like some Christmas lights with some solar source on the stop sign down there to get people's attention.
You do what Ruben does and go out there with a big stick.
Well, some people have those children at play signs too, like when your grandchild is out there, those little figurines of a child playing is another good idea. I've seen people do that. How legal they are, I don't know. I can't advocate one way or the other.
Those little
But
plastic things.
yeah, those little plastic children, silhouette of a child playing, especially when your grandchild is in your street.
I think
there.
5 mile an hour speed hump would slow people down.
Yeah, slow the kids down too. A couple of the neighbor boys have those electric bikes they ride to Blue Lake, and look, man, they just cruise right through that intersection there. They're gonna get hurt bad, or they're gonna hit some other child or whatever.
Well, if you already have a stop sign there, you just gotta
They
get.
just cruise right through them. So
But a
I
speed
told one of
bump is
them's
gonna
older
stop.
brother that, hey, you should tell your little brother to chill out, or else he's probably gonna lose his right to ride that thing. I'm not talking to your parents. I'm talking to you. So
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay. It sounds like we have a plan and we're gonna move forward on that. So this will be brought back to us or, yeah, to
Yeah, I think
us
there has to be.
with the map. Okay.
So
All
hopefully
right.
we can have it authorized within a couple weeks or so, or is it gonna be months or?
Months.
It's more like months because
it's a
it's
city.
a change, we're a city and it's a change in our street.
Be happiest months instead of years, Don.
Configuration.
It's
In
fitting.
the meantime, I'm just thinking it's winter now and things are getting worse. You should have seen Aurora when we first took off the wheels of her bike, and her dad had just worked a 12-hour day. He was exhausted, and she just took off. She went and stopped sign around that corner, and Dave's chasing her down the road. I felt sorry for him. He was exhausted. Anyway.
Okay, well, thank you for coming out this evening
Thanks for
and
having
bringing
me.
that up for us to look at. We are now on item 13, New Year's Eve poster concerning fireworks, discussion and possible action.
Yes, we had a very successful July 4th. Marty's,
Thank you.
I have the backside of what went on that City Hall printed. This was the front side of the July 4th one. There's a copy of it. I still have the ones for Christmas at my house.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve one. And what we did with this one, we printed the city ordinance regarding fireworks on the other side of the new July
Year's
4th
Eve.
one.
Well, yeah.
I
exactly.
suggest we do that again, that we just take this existing fireworks ordinance and put it on the back. And I would say, I believe there's a summer youth program running during the Christmas holidays.
There
And
is.
that was one of the major distributions. There was a stack of them in the logger that were red because of the fireworks ordinance. So, and then there was handing out, there was a couple posted around town. The weather was better, so a couple were posted on telephone poles and so on about town. And we had a really quiet New Year's. It was a quiet New Year's.
I mean, 4th of July.
4th of July.
Yeah.
Thank you. 4th of July. In my 44 years in Blue Lake, this past 4th of July was by far the calmest, quietest one. So thank you, Marty. It was really successful.
They can be laminated. The city has a laminating machine if we need to have that because of the
I think
weather.
a couple of them were.
Okay. They probably were.
Okay.
Because even in the summer we get rain.
I think a couple of the July 4th ones were laminated too.
And I'll be here so I can ring the church bells at whatever
oh,
time you want me
okay.
to. I don't know if we want to do it at midnight.
No, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock? That was what
Well,
time?
yeah.
It was 8 o'clock when we
No,
when we used,
You said 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
So
No, I'm saying during COVID, I used to ring the bell at 8
Oh,
o'clock. That
right.
was me that used
So
to ring the church bells at 8. But
I-
9 o'clock is fine.
I will take the existing leaflets with your jingle on it to City Hall and ask them to duplicate this, the fireworks ordinance on it. And then we can discuss the distribution in December's meeting.
Yeah.
And
Probably just kind of repeat what we did for July
Exactly,
4th, I think. A
exactly.
lot of social media stuffs, things posted around town. I remember seeing them posted
yeah, And if
around town.
and if that signs the city had there on the museum strip, at this end of the museum strip,
Oh,
was
yeah.
really in a good place. And if that's put up again, if it's weather,
Yeah, it said 4th of
Oh.
July, unfortunately. Yeah.
Maybe you could go out by the roundabout and get even better.
oh,
This is-
okay,
Well-
well, that would require Rancheria permission.
No, it well, on the roundabout is the Rancheria. On the property where our Welcome to Blue Lake
that's true.
sign is the school.
That's true.
And that dovetails into something else that Marty called me about the other night, was to get on the school board meeting agenda to have the New Year's Eve plea handed out to students at Blue Lake Elementary School. And I will go to the school board meeting on the 13th at 6 o'clock, and I will try to get on the agenda. But I tried this before and it was not successful. The superintendent did not feel it was appropriate for her students to be, I don't know what, guilted out by this or
Well,
something.
that would be great. And if
Yeah,
if
it's-
they
and
do it,
it's
they
alright.
didn't allow it for the 4th,
Yeah,
and we still had a very successful time.
right.
Yeah.
So I think that if we duplicate that effort, and since we've been through it once, we know we can do that. And yeah, so I'll
Well, I'll do what I can on the end of the school board. I
Okay.
don't mind that. I'll see if I can get on the agenda, if it's okay with the superintendent. And then you're going to, you have the July 4th one, but do we have the New Year's?
yeah, I have
Eve?
I
You
have them
that.
already
You have the
printed. The
template. Oh, great.
Paradise K, when he printed the ones for July 4th, ran where Marty asked him to do another segment for the holidays, New Year.
Right.
And so that's what we got. They're over at my place, and in my
Okay.
rush to get here, I forgot them.
No problem. Well,
84.
our next meeting is December 1st. So there
that'll
will
give us
be
time. That'll give
still
us
a
time to
little
get it printed
time
too.
to still, because you don't want things out too soon. People
No.
will forget or whatever. So, we'll have it then. and it will be back
And
on
Michael
the
will put it
agenda.
up in the logger again. We'll get good.
Yeah, and I'll ring the bell this time because I don't think it actually got rung the last. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners before I open it to public? Public, any comment? If you would come to the podium, Marty.
I like the idea of putting them, we have 150 of them. And there's about 150 kids. So I like the idea of them being sent out with the kids. And something has been changed in there since the last time the school board looked at it. We took out one of the lines. So it's worth trying again. And then Aaron has volunteered again to take down a burrow and to decorate the burrow Christmassy and to give out candy canes and, talk to the kids about the impact on animals. And, I just think that's nice if the school board would allow it. And so it's different than what they looked at before, because we did take one of the lines out that maybe the word felt too.
Is that the traumatized word?
Yeah, we took that out.
So what's the new one look like?
Well, it's
I
got
don't
4 lines to it.
Yours still says traumatized?
I haven't opened it since back then, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, the traumatized is still in there. It was another word evidently that we
It
took
used to
out.
say chimes instead of crimes,
Crimes, that was the word, crimes.
but,
Oh,
if you really
it does say chimes now. Yeah.
Instead of fines.
really
instead
want
of
the
crimes.
school to embrace it, you might make a particularly child-friendly one.
Well, I don't know. I'm not ready to start redesigning it or anything, but
just different
I'm
words.
just saying that what I feel. I think it would be great to get them out to the school. And you can't talk to Deanne because she goes along with what the school board says. So we got to go to the school board. And then December, we wouldn't want them out before December, just before their vacation, kind of middle of December, maybe.
I can see the issue being that kids don't really have a lot of control over who's doing fireworks.
That's right.
They might feel bad for the animals, but they're not going to be able to tell their uncles and
Yeah,
the
well,
people who
whatever
are
you
actually
think is
doing it.
best.
Maybe that's why the school had some reservations.
Yeah, it does impress the kids though. They can pass that on to their parents that, what they said, what we learned in school today is these
Well-
big bangs affect the dogs and so it spreads that way too, but
The school,
whatever you decide.
the school bailed on us for the 4th, and we still had a very successful
Yeah.
4th. And I think that if we do what we did, make it community oriented, and particularly if messages go online, the social media. And I think the printing, I don't remember whose idea it wasn't mine, to print it on the back of your jingle was really a good idea because people were reading it in the locker. The men were reading it and the women.
Just take them home and show them to the parents.
Yeah.
Well, we
So-
will have a vacation recreation here at the park for Christmas vacation. There'll be a recreation
Right.
program.
The camp.
So we have the camp. So
Mhm.
we'll have some control there, and that'll probably happen at, December 22nd. So that would even
that'd
give
be a very, very
that would give
timely.
enough children. There will be enough children at that we could give
Yeah.
those out if it doesn't work out with the school.
Yeah.
I think it was very successful without the school because it was amazing how many fewer fireworks we had.
Boy, it was
That's what I
quiet.
heard.
It
I
was
heard.
quiet. I heard one fireworks, and it wasn't the big heavy booms. It was a little firecracker, the little
mm.
ones, and it was over here somewhere.
Mm.
But that's the only one I heard, and that was late at night. That was like 11 p.m. or something.
Mm.
So
Okay.
people were aware. Well, the last line of the ordinance, where is it? The last line, the last line in the ordinance is, it is the discretion of the enforcement officer. In the discretion of the enforcement officer, any person who violates any provision of this chapter shall be guilty of either one, a misdemeanor and punishable by a fine not exceeding $100 or imprisonment not exceeding 20 days, or two, an administrative fine as may be set by the council by resolution from time to time. So that's serious penalties,
Mhm.
you know, and I think it really had an effect.
I'll still ring the bells of the Presbyterian Church.
And I will ring the Catholic Church bells at 9 o'clock.
Nice seeing
Because
you,
I will
Marty.
be here. Thank you, Marty, for your work on this. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from commission?
Horse ordinance, yeah.
Okay, let's move on then to our horse ordinance discussion.
Uh,
Um,
okay, I'm going to discuss it. My feeling is we got this email from Ken Swatsky just now before the meeting. I suggest we bring this back, announce it on the agenda, perhaps get it on local social media, that the horse agenda is coming before the Public Safety Commission on the December 1st meeting, because the horse people are going to want to be involved in this. And they're going to, and I think we want them involved because they're the most experienced with the animals. And so far, I have seen no problems with the horses anytime ever in my 44 years here.
Do we know where this came from? Why this is coming before
Well,
us?
why it came is because when I put this on the agenda, because I saw that it was supposed to be on the next agenda, it was a future agenda item. So I went to Tony quickly. So she and I looked through all the past ordinances about large animals. What I thought Mr. Sawatsky's issue was at the parade that the large animals that he had contracted with to carry the, I don't know, they were Clydesdales or something that were carrying a stagecoach through in the parade, that there was a problem with how they were directed to go to the beginning of the parade. So that's why I picked out that particular ordinance that talks about horses and large animals on streets. Then I find out that no, because we saw this ordinance, but I said to Tony quickly, this is not the issue that there's large animals on people's property. Well, apparently it is. I misunderstood what
Yeah, I would need
What
more
was-
background as to why this is coming before us, why what we have now is not adequate, what the problems are. I mean,
This is generated by Kent only.
Mm.
And how it started was Kent at public comment before one of our sessions back in the summer, I forget which one, made a comment about that horses were dangerous or something, needed regulation. And he mentioned the ordinance, and I said, the first thing we have to do as a commission is get the horse ordinance. Well, it turns out the horse ordinance is, the existing horse ordinance is two sentences. Two sentences. And then tonight, sitting before us is this lengthy,
seeing in the pack.
Is the key, yeah.
and I think it will be another contentious issue in town. And I just want us to be fair from the beginning of it, and I don't want us to become draconian because people have imaginary perceptions. I don't know, that's an oxymoron, but imagination is running wild because there are horses around the area and so on. I happen to think it's a lovely part of Blue Lake having horses, a horse-friendly town. I like it.
Yeah, I don't want to cast any aspersions on anybody, but I do need to know as a commissioner what we're being asked, why we're being asked to do it. If it's one person, if Kent Sawatsky is the person who's making the request, he needs to come and make that request to us.
Well, you see, Ken has already gone to somebody else, Julie
Christie?
Narrow Razor
McGill.
Yeah,
Gmail. I
mine
don't
too.
know. I don't know what her
Yeah,
connection is.
my
or anything.
recollection is that the original complaint was during Annie Mary days.
Yeah.
There was horses on the on that wooden bridge.
Right.
There were horses that were
On the Powers Creek
yeah, on the
Bridge
Powers
going
Creek
over.
Bridge, essentially, which possibly could be outside of proper use or ordinance use, when they should have stayed on the street and just come that way, the long way, if that's. And I didn't know about any complaint of his about keeping of animals in town on the correct property according to the ordinance until just now.
Right. Me too. That was
So-
that was exactly how
Oh,
I
I'm
felt,
sorry.
Ted.
I'm
So
sorry.
I agree.
Mine
I think it
misinterpreted.
should be moved to the next agenda.
All right.
We need more information. Just looking at the
Well, we
ordinance
can
tells me
put it
nothing.
on the next agenda and we can ask Kent to clarify what the issue, we can mention that.
And if
We
it's a
understood the
one-time
original
issue,
issue to be horses on the sidewalks or on an improper path,
Right.
on an unauthorized path.
Exactly.
And now you're saying this is about
People keeping
people keeping the animals,
animals in their
Right,
property
right,
or
right.
something.
which I have to say from my point of view is, well, if you think if somebody is keeping an animal improperly against the ordinance in town, you should file a complaint with City Hall. To me, it's not a public safety issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a property usage violation.
Right, because
an
we have
enforcement
the
issue.
ordinance in place. We have this in place.
Right. There's
We're just gonna go by
the
that.
horses on the town streets, sidewalks, yes, that's a public safety issue. Horses in somebody's yard or whatever, that's a
Mhm.
land use issue.
And if it sounds like there's a violation of the ordinance, that's an enforcement issue.
Right.
It's not really,
What we can do about it.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, we can put it back on there and see what happens. I know in the winter times, Mr. Sawatsky is usually out of town, but we'll see. We'll ask him to come.
The existing ordinance, chapter 10.07, miscellaneous, writing of section 10.07.020, riding of horses on sidewalks prohibited. I've never seen a horse ridden on a sidewalk in this town. I've seen them on streets, certainly,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
they're
on our
always under
trail.
control. I've never
Mhm.
seen a horse out of control.
Well, we were trying to find something that addressed what we thought was Mr. Sawatsky's concern. That's what we were trying to find, and that was all that we found.
Right.
Because we thought the concern had something to do with horses on city streets or trails.
And
or
on
something
the
like
street, I've never seen a horse in violation of the second sentence of
Well,
this
no,
ordinance.
that wasn't his complaint. His
So we're-
complaint
That's-
was the horse on that bridge.
I
And
remember.
we can ask him to clarify that, but I
Okay.
remember him, that was his original
I-
original beef.
I don't remember that. I thought his beef here was about the horses moving too fast on streets and so on.
No, I don't
No,
think
okay,
don't have
I
enough
could be
information
wrong,
to
but
show.
that's
Okay.
okay.
We will add this to our another
I just-
discussion.
And we will request to get more information and a clear presentation of what we're being asked.
Okay. From applicant, we'll call him. Okay. All right, report from Public Safety Commission liaison and staff. We really don't have staff. Does the liaison want to make a presentation at all?
He's the staff.
Oh, that's true. We do have
No.
staff.
He resigned.
So, I did just want to share that, City Manager Jill Duffy is, reviewing our emergency response plan. And, I think our text message or our Facebook message that we talked about with sandbags and whatnot was part of her efforts there. And she's also exploring possible mutual aid scenarios between us and various local and regional agencies. So that's something that's going on. She did mention that the emergency response plan, she did locate it, and she's having some conversations with other agencies. So and that report was generated based on the I think the county Office of Emergency Services, putting out the warnings, the weather warnings and that. So that's something I do have, and then we could chat about the flood fighting workshop that happened was it last month? Now I'm starting to, my days are running together.
Yeah.
I think it was last month.
It was on,
I attended the
Right.
first half, which did not involve actually filling sandbags and building barriers, but it was all more the book learning part. So Department of Water Resources put it on. We saw a movie about the big flood down in the valley around Yuba City and those areas in '97. We learned about different ways to shore up levees and various earthen barriers, the different types of breaches that can happen in those, and different ways to use sandbags to try to strengthen those during a flood event, typically. Um, and I think I'd like Lynn to fill in the blanks.
I did.
Very attentive student.
Yes, this is our booklet, if anybody wants to borrow it. It's Department of
I'll
Water
just
Resources.
look at it.
And I did go to the second part, and it's really good to see how they did it. I think people are most surprised to see how little sand you actually put in a sandbag
Mm.
for it to be effective.
Mhm.
And I'm really glad to see the city's doing a training on Friday, because there's a proper way to do things. The CERT team has agreed to help coordinate if there becomes an event to coordinate sandbagging, like to set up a shelter and have somebody there on spot or on site. Because when we had the flooding in January last year, I think it was a little bit chaotic, and we saw the kinds of things that could be done to make it go more smoothly. So we're going to try and help with that if that's required.
That sounds great.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this discussed at the last city council meeting that the city decided to buy a huge amount of sand
Yes.
bags?
I think she said there's 1,000 or 2,000 sandbags.
Yeah, huge amount, because before that we weren't buying enough of them, and it turns out it's
Ran out.
we ran
Yeah.
out, and when there's a need for it, and it's cheaper to just buy a huge amount of it. So you said 1,000 to
It's
2,000?
1 or 2,000. I
Yeah,
don't
I
recall
know.
exactly.
I remember it was a huge amount, but yeah. And then the sand we get from where?
Well, the
It's-
sand can come from anywhere. I imagine Pepe is probably,
Mm.
supplying sand.
Yeah,
I know they had some in
gravel
in
business.
the corporation yard. They had a big
Mhm.
pile in the corporation yard and would bring some over. Um, but
Because this
Yeah.
week, if we have a storm, a really bad storm, Wednesday is supposed to be the worst rain. And then that's also a full moon. So we have the tide situation. That's what happened in 1994, if some of us remember, when we had a super moon, they call it, at the same time as a lot of rain. So basically, what happened with Dave's Powers Creek, that instead of Dave's Powers Creek going towards the Mad River, it went the other way,
Backed
and
up.
that's backed up. And that's why Karina's area there, that's a low spot, that Broderick Avenue. And Sherman and I were going up and down talking to the people there, because Carla's house, your friend Carla, her house had a layer of water, and her little girl was playing with her Barbies in this water. And we told Carla and her daughter, you guys need to leave, because we don't know what's in that water. It might be sewer. It was really serious. So that's a low spot. But I'm just thinking about this sandbagging happening Friday, when hopefully we won't need it on Wednesday, because
Well,
that's, you know,
the announcement said that sandbags will be available starting Wednesday,
Good.
Between 9 and 4, which is city hall hours but that's at the corporation yard, and then the class or training rather is going to happen at 4 o'clock at the corporation yard on Friday.
Where did you see that?
It's a Facebook post that the city made.
Okay.
Okay, good to know.
All right. Thank you.
There's
Anything else?
also,
Oh,
we also found the Rancheria has a lot of supplies. They
Oh.
have several containers with sandbags, hip boots. I mean, they have a lot of materials. I
Mm.
believe it's also down in Fortuna. The CCC has has sandbags that can be.
Right. Well, they were saying the Department of Water Resources trainer was saying that they have a container down there
Mhm.
where they stockpile stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that we can just go get it. It's like if we have an emergency and we exhaust our resources, then we can request
Right. So we have to replace it
um,
maybe, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We can ask them to replace what
Yeah.
we've used if we're in the midst of an emergency situation.
Excuse me, right. But back to the city emergency plan. So is anybody going from the city to this planning workshop on how to write a plan, an emergency plan that the
To-
Rancheria
I
is
don't know
offering?
of anyone at this time.
Could somebody go perhaps? Could there be some discussion?
I don't
Because-
know. I can talk to Jill about it and ask her if she has staff. She sent Glenn to the flood fight training after it
really
was
helpful.
requested that that somebody from the city attend. And I imagine he's going to be the one that's just teaching people Friday how to fill sandbags.
Hmm.
So that's good.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
But regarding the emergency plan, if we're talking about reviewing and that kind of thing, it seems really great that we have this training opportunity.
Right.
with
I'll make sure
just
Jill
that.
knows about it. I'm sure. And I think she does because I believe she was in contact with Andrew today.
Was that the November 12th meeting from 8 to 5 that,
Yes,
Um,
writing emergency plans for
the-
rural jurisdiction. That's
Yeah.
exactly what we need to
okay.
be getting
The
more
Rancheria
information about.
Office of Emergency Services and their training center is doing really great stuff. They're
Mhm.
bringing a lot of training to
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got some big grants for
our,
that.
to right here, so convenient and yeah.
It's a
So
shame not to take advantage. And then the disaster recovery in rural communities also is another
Right.
training that would be really important, I would think, for someone from the city to go to. Because-
Right.
yeah, like I said, I'll make sure Jill knows about it.
Any
and I
other?
wouldn't mind if you helped me. If you want to send her an email as well, it'd be great.
Any other report from the council?
In terms of safety, I don't think we have any safety specific issues coming forward. Do you recall something that I'm forgetting?
No, just the rabies report that
Right.
that was had that evening. Yeah, and the sandbags. Okay, thank you very much. Staff, are you our staff? Report from staff. All right, we'll move on to future agenda items. I wrote down Safety Commission work plan. Lynn Glenn showed me something from 2014. She dates back to that year of being on the
Yes,
Public Safety Commission.
I
And
found this and remembered we had a work plan when we first started out. And what we did was we went through all the documents that established the Public Safety Commission to see what we were required to do and suggested what was suggested that we do. And we made a work plan out of it because, for instance, the safety fair shouldn't be just have to be remembered randomly at some time. I mean, we need, if it's written down, it's a lot more methodical and we're more likely to maybe do some of the things that would be important for us to do as a safety commission. Some of these documents, I think the original ordinance that formed the safety commission changed. They wrote another one because originally we were not allowed to talk about preparedness, emergency preparedness. We were only focused on the sheriff's contract. And so that was expanded in a later ordinance. So there may be some things in there, like I said, that no longer apply. But
yeah, I think we should bring this back because we need to discuss these items. I can see already there's a couple of ones here. Obviously, they're dated after
I would
11
ask
years.
we delay that till January. Next meeting is going to be, we have
Oh,
3 left over from this one. We got the January, New Year's firecracker thing. We got the horse ordinance.
yeah, it's a good time to do that, to do it in January.
Yeah, just because those things should be coming up out of this meeting. And I
okay.
think there was another one.
Sheriff log include Red Cross and fire
No,
department.
no,
which
I
that wasn't it
wasn't from that. It was,
from our agenda from
yeah,
tonight.
yeah, from tonight for future meeting.
Okay, let's
Well,
just-
the
Here it
I
is, here it
Street
is. Let me-
survey, we're
let me
going to
see.
go over that probably.
And the magnet.
Oh, the
Yeah, the
magnet,
magnet.
magnets, that's
Yeah.
what it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, those 3. So,
Okay.
So let's just not forget though, because we don't
Yeah.
have an item for,
I
Two meeting-
know,
two
that's the
meetings
problem
hence.
by January. I
Yeah.
know. When is the January meeting? Okay, that would be the 5th. All right.
so also I would like somehow I would mention to Adeline that it'd be helpful, I think, if the agencies that we are asking to come check in got the agenda emailed to them and the packet at the same time as we got ours. So it would be a reminder for the meeting and they would know what's being discussed. And it just seems since they're on the agenda, it would be a courtesy to do that.
Hmm.
I got his mail address for Andrew, so I can suggest that happen. And
Is Andrew with the Red Cross?
Andrew
No,
is
Office of
the
Emergency
gentleman that's
Services.
here tonight.
Santeria.
Oh, from the Rancheria. Yeah, yeah. Do we have a contact with Red Cross?
He probably would tell us, but we don't.
Okay. Because then there's the chief Vanuku for the fire
yeah.
department.
Yeah.
He can be emailed.
So I would be happy to try and contact people on emails
Okay, that would be great.
because it's.
Is this a handout, Lynn, or do you need
No,
it
she
back?
needed it
Oh, I
back.
need
I
it.
think.
Yeah, that's what I got from the
Yeah,
workshop.
it's too
Okay.
bad. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else added to future agenda items? I'm going to
Oh.
mention that we get the sheriff log,
Yes.
right? We really
Requested
want
from
that.
staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did for a while there. Now we just haven't been. And he gave it to us verbally, but it's nice to be able to see the numbers
Right.
and
Mhm.
the
I
trends.
think, yeah, whoever's putting together, if it's Tony that's putting together the, the
Agenda.
complete packet, s- her or whoever, if she has a helper to learn how to use that system, to download the,
You don't have to. They're typically sending those to the city manager.
are they?
Yeah.
So she needs to. make
Are you
sure-
getting a hard copy of that at the council? Okay, yeah, we do need a hard copy of that. Okay, we'll
and it
get
needs to be
that.
on the agenda. It should be a regular item.
Yeah, it used to be. It
Yeah.
used to be. So the sheriff log is very
And-
important.
And also,
Okay.
we should probably add to appoint a recording secretary as a regular item.
Yeah, I
Early
know.
on in
That
the
wasn't
meeting.
on there. Yeah, we do need.
Otherwise, we can't do it, really.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
at the
agenda.
last city council meeting during public agenda item, I mentioned that one of the things that's really a problem is these commissions where we have to have our own commissioners take the minutes. It would be really nice if
Mhm.
the city could afford, a secretary. The planning commission is taken care of. They have a secretary because that's very important. But the other four commissions are taking their own minutes.
And we never had, I don't think we had. anyone
Yeah,
who did that
Mandy
before.
used to do it. Yes, she
Right, she
did.
did, but before Mandy, we didn't have, the city manager didn't come because.
Well, who
of
did?
Staff time, no one. We just met and we didn't have staff support.
But but you
That's the
had,
commission.
you had minutes.
We would take our own minutes.
So somebody amongst yourselves did.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think there should be somebody. I mean, if you
Well-
pay someone $20 an hour, it's a 2-hour meeting plus another hour for the transcribing, that's $60. 60 times 4 is $240 a month for those 4 meetings. I mean, it's doable.
Maybe after the budget is.
You can pay me
finalized.
$20 an hour.
See, there's somebody that would
Wouldn't
do
get me
it,
to do it for $20 an hour.
but some people might. I
I
was,
wouldn't either. I wouldn't do
Well-
it for $100.
well, the
Anybody can take
Running 3
anybody
hours,
can
our
take a
meetings are-
video, take the video and run AI minutes off of it. And if you started out with a template for your minutes, where you can start with a printed template where it lists all the commissioners and you just check who was here and who was absent and
Yeah, it
each
could be
motion
easy.
who was the first, who was the second, and you could
Yeah.
just you can make it really simple and just in the moment, but then you can also go back with your video and generate minutes with AI that are quite comprehensive, and then you just edit them to make sure they're accurate.
Yeah, I
And the
kind of
important
I
thing
use
is-
a preprint when I do minutes for the Grange.
Preprint?
Yeah, I
What's that?
preprint all the agenda items out.
Yeah,
And then just go through and add a few notes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, I'm an English major, so I get a little more into the weeds of things. Alex would understand that. Did you have any
I
further
was just going to
comments?
share that from a budget perspective, I don't think there's going to be. I don't think it's likely that we're going to add something new to the liabilities of the city at this point. It looks the picture's not shaping up to look real great. So,
Well, it's
I
just a
think-
suggestion. Okay, we are moving on from future agenda items to a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion from
Aye.
commission?
from
Public, back to commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We adjourned at 9:04.